Watkins of corn. This is your favorite blue guy in the corner who's totally confused and I don't know. Does this still work? Are we even live? I think we are. Actually,
We're
should
live this
be.
time.
Who are you?
I don't know. Who do you think I am?
You want to introduce yourself again?
Oh, sure. My name is Allison Huber Claire. Wait, I have a woman of many names. It's Allison Claire, but Allison Claire Huber.
All right, Sinclair. Uh, what are we doing today? Remind me.
Well, you said you didn't want to pick a topic. You're like, you just pick a topic,
It's
Allison, and
always
we'll
the
talk
same.
about whatever, whatever we're gonna talk about. And I don't know. I made some notes. They
Hmm.
look kind of fancy and official, but they're mostly about senses and perceptions and dreams, what we consider reality, what we consider dreams, different phenomenon in regards to those. Our senses, how our senses work, what they can do, what they can't do,
Nice.
what we might be able to do with them if we practiced conditioning our brains to be in a place that would be more conducive to, for instance, a creative state, hypnagogia. Yeah.
Alrighty then.
So
Uh,
that's what I've got.
turns out you are the well prepared person for this. I just watched those TED Talks, and I don't know.
Well, that's a fair piece of preparing.
All right,
Like I made these loose notes and they don't we're just going to have a conversation. Like I didn't plan out a script this time like I did last time. We're just freewheeling.
it's the
We're
same
just
shit. We just freestyling this, talking from our hearts. That's what we can do best. This is a totally different show. Might have realized this already. So, um, I don't know. Let's start at the end or at the beginning. How you want to proceed?
um
You want to go through the TED Talks? How do you want to structure this? Because I've got
um
none to offer.
okay, what about the TED Talks? Um I think I'm going to start with just talking a little bit about our like two of our main senses, sight and hearing, that influence so much of what we perceive and and yet we know there's so much more out there. Like it can be scientifically proven very easily that our abilities as humans to perceive what is potentially out there on the electromagnetic spectrum that, other animals are able to perceive, for example. Our own capabilities are pretty limited to the extent that everything that humans see um, only accounts for about 0.0035% of the entire spectrum. So there's 99.99% of the electromagnetic spectrum that we cannot see. And
Sounds made
I don't
up.
know. I mean, people say seeing is believing, but but just demonstratively, there's so much out there that we can't see that is, I mean, it is there. It exists. I'm not necessarily sure why we're not able to perceive it.
Hmm.
But um, so there's this whole visible spectrum, and we can only see about 380 to 720 nanometers in the spectrum, but it actually goes. Um, what's the highest it goes? I don't know. It goes really high, goes really low. We can only see a little bit of it. Um,
No infrared for you.
No,
No.
but there is infrasight. Um, you know, some animals can see way lower light spectrum. Some can see a lot higher. There are animals that have 16 different kinds of photoreceptors. Mantis shrimp has 16 different kinds of photoreceptors. We have three. And apparently, there are some people who do have a fourth kind of photoreceptor. Um, and they've studied this, and they find it's mostly women that they have studied that have this fourth cone cell type in their eyes to see more colors. But it takes normal perception of color from seeing about 1 million colors to seeing possibly about 100 million colors. Um, I'm thinking about that. I'm like, how would you know? Like, how would you know if you were this tetrachromat? How would you find that out? You'd just be going through your whole life seeing colors, and other people would say, "Oh, that's teal," or "Oh, that's mauve, that's lavender, that's sage, that's muted ash gray." But whatever name people give it, you just learn that that name is what that perception is. Like,
Yeah.
I'm curious. They're calling it like a genetic abnormality, but I don't know. How would you ever know how abnormal it really is? Because the only way to find out that you have it is by doing scans of your eyeballs. And how often do normal people get scans of their eyeballs to test how many different kinds of photoreceptor cones they have?
Well, well, well. Not a lot. You wouldn't know. Totally clueless. Same with the people who have more and would be able to see more nuances. Same shit. How would you know that you are different, that you can see I don't know, different kind of red than others? They don't just, they don't have the receptors. So that's funny.
I can understand how you'd understand pretty quickly if you could not see, if you're a dichromat, if you had some form of a color blindness, like a red-green color blindness. Um, I heard it described as, you find out because people hold up two pictures and they're like, well, in this picture it has all of these colors, and in this picture it doesn't. And to a colorblind person, maybe both of those pictures look exactly the same because they can't. So I can understand where there's testing to. I think it would be more easily tested to find out that you are not experiencing as many more colors. But how do you know? I don't know. It's just very clearly so relative, something that we just take for granted every day.
Hmm.
Everybody is walking around seeing colors, but are we really seeing the same thing?
Everyone running around experiencing the world and the universe. And you know where I've heard those numbers, at least close to that, when it comes to what we know about the universe and stuffs. There's a lot of dark matter. That's how we called it. There's still debate. Is it really what it is? Is antimatter really? I don't even know, but I've seen uh, similar numbers, and I think, catch me spitting wrong numbers, it's about 3% of the universe is actual matter we actually understand and can kind of work with. So that's kind of funny. Double on your nose, you know? We see only small part of the universe, which of we only see a small part. What is this? Some weird.
Yeah, I think it's just interesting to think about how much space in your brain is allotted to processing your sense of sight. I think it's more space in your brain than any other sense. It's I think it's your occipital lobe, like in the back of your head is where your movie projector is. Um, it's just it's an interesting concept that we developed these brains that are so sight dependent and spend so much time and effort seeing things, and we're actually intensely bad at seeing things in relation to everything that's out there to see. I learned about circularly polarized light, which is another thing. It's a phenomenon you can kind of see it sometimes in the border between where air meets water, that there's like a shimmery sort of thinness to the boundary there, the air-water boundary. And you can see it in bubbles. If you blow bubbles and they're floating around, it kind of shines in that or bioluminescence is another example of the circularly polarized light that some animals have adapted to see more readily than humans. But basically, how that's produced is two electromagnetic waves are coming at each other perpendicularly, and they meet, and instead of continuing on as a wave, they continue on as a spiral, which is interesting. That's hella interesting. It's like, um, I don't know. I take that and I'm like, well, the implication there might be that if these two electromagnetic waves that are exactly perpendicular create this certain effect, what about like slightly askew um, rays electromagnetic waves interacting with each other? Like, what if three or four different electromagnetic waves are all combining in some way, creating um, a perception for some kind of animal or even some people? Science, science, man.
Yeah, you got me stunned. You're a stunner. Like I got
I
nothing.
don't know.
I'm just
Um,
carry on.
and for all of that not being able to see, it's also interesting that we can hold on, I'm getting a call, but I'm stopping it.
She did it again. She likes to turn around.
um
Some
we're
spider in the corner.
we've got oh, and there's no intrinsic limit to the furthest or smallest thing that we can see, so long as an object of whatever size, distance, or brevity transfers even a photon to a retinal cell in our eyes, we could potentially see it. Um, so we're we can't see so much of what's around us every day, but we can see the Andromeda galaxy, which is 23 quintillion miles away. I looked that up. It's 23. I wrote it so everybody can see. Look, I did my that's 23 quintillion right there. That's a lot.
That's a lot of zeros.
That's a lot of zeros. Yep. That's also our Patreon goal.
A lot of zeros.
Preferably after at least one.
Yeah, if I keep on like this, it's probably going to be like zeros. I'm so bad at marketing. Why? I should be good with this, right? However, so still,
So there's that saying, like everything you can see is just one tiny little fraction of everything that's out there that we can't see. And same with hearing. Like we can only hear 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, but there is a spectrum from about 0 to 300,000, which leaves us at being able to hear like 7% or less than 7% of all of the sounds that are out there that could be heard. Apparently, pigeons have the best infrasound hearing. They can detect frequencies down as low as 0.5 hertz, which is even lower than elephants, rhinos, whales, hippos, and octopuses.
sweet.
Yeah, well, that's so strange. That's a strange creature adaptation. Like, why would a pigeon need to hear that low? Like all the other animals are
Mm,
elephants, rhinos, whales, hippos, and then pigeons.
that's amazing. You know, they can see the magnetic fields. They orient along those for their long travels, and it's still amazing. I don't know how they do it. Do they hear it? Do they smell it? Can they see it? I don't really. I think they can see it. I think they can see it. But which one of those senses is enhanced, and what happens when few of those come together? It's kind of weird. Still weird. Still nothing. Okay,
Still weird.
we got the eyes, we got the ears. What else you got? Now it's getting smelly.
No, no, now we're starting. Now
Bet it's getting smelly.
it started going into brain waves.
Oh no, please no.
Yeah, yep, yeah. Well, because I started thinking about. Well, I started finding. I just free associate thoughts. I'm just like, hey, I wonder what this is about. I wonder what that's about. I want to learn something about this topic, and then I just sort of wrote down the things that I thought were interesting. But apparently, there's different frequencies that have been noted as possibly being able to calm the human nervous system
Mm,
by interacting with your brain somehow. Like, a lot of people were making a big deal about 432 hertz. They said if you play music at 432 hertz, it promotes calm and lowers heart rate and blood pressure. Um, and that's been also kind of contested on if if that's really science or if it's a bunch of hooey, but
there are many ways to
it
roam.
it's an idea, it's out there.
Mm,
And you were also talking about how I look into this to find out if this is true, but I'm gonna say it. But they said that when the Nazis would play their music, they would raise the frequency from this 432 hertz, which a lot of calming music was written in, and play it at 440 hertz, which is a little bit more agitating
mm,
and would keep people upset on purpose.
hmm. Good to know. So you can keep it lower.
Yeah. Yep. There's so about hearing your thoughts. Here's a question I have about hearing your thoughts and hearing an inner monologue. Because if humans can hear down to 20 hertz and our brains can produce electromagnetic waves of 30 to 100 hertz, which are called gamma waves, which are associated when you are deeply concentrating or um, you're firing on all cylinders, sort of. Um, but I wonder if it could be possible that the brain is perceiving gamma waves as having sound. Like it's not coming from an external source, but could these gamma waves that your brain is producing be making that effect of when you are to the point of putting sound to your thoughts? Like,
Oh, there's some scary shit out there. Real scary shit. They even have now some tools which are supposed to block that kind of scary shit, but I've seen a study that was years ago where they could use a laser pulse and direct it to your bone in your head, and by having the bone vibrate, they could essentially produce a sound. And this way, it was also possible to beam over entire texts, so you hear something, someone talking or some shit. So that's scary. There's
that's
already
crazy.
enough crazy shit going on, like inside the normal human. You think about hearing voices. I mean, we have a long history. Humanity hears a lot of shit. Sometimes it doesn't even have to come from outside. And I think we could say since colonialism and we started to colonialize ourselves, there are a lot of voices from the inside. And the call might be coming from inside the house. So how are you supposed to figure out where the fucking call is coming from? Probably helps when you develop some sort of habits to deal with thoughts of any kind. And it's a good advice. I heard that someone smart said it, don't believe anything you think. No, not everything. Don't believe everything you think. Sometimes it's probably smart to think twice and then believe it. I don't know. Goes along those lines. So now we are talking about thoughts, right? There's a lot to
Thoughts,
say about
thought processes,
that,
and
and you
yeah.
already mentioned hearing,
Yeah, like
using
delusions
sound
of
to.
grandeur, to the extent of delusions of grandeur, if you're in a manic state, which I would imagine if you're in a manic state, your brain is producing a lot of gamma waves. Like, not necessarily backed by science, it's just an idea that I imagine is probably the truth. Um, look it up, do your own research, kids. The truth is out there
I mean, we
and it's on
we
the internet. You
we
can
do
find
have
it if you want to.
we do have some science on this, and that was the second TED talk. Where, I forgot his name.
Well, is that the one about
Watkins, I think.
how to be brilliant every day? Is that the one?
That's the one. And where he lobotomizes temporarily his audience on the stage, like gets someone on the stage and then lets them count and then interrupts them, bullshits around with them, and then they lose their count and be like switching numbers and totally out of their thing, getting into this fight or flight mode in the reptile brain. I don't know how you call this. The real name
Did
is
they have
different.
him? He had him
And
hooked up to an EEG or something. He
yes,
was
he could
like,
measure that, and the audience could see that on the screen behind them. It was pretty decent. So everyone could actually see what's going on with the chemistry, with the body chemistry, and how, yeah, he got out of his thing, and then you got to explain it and explain some more what happens with temporal lobotomy. And that's something you can essentially, he mapped out an entire universe of emotions where he said, okay, those emotions tend to bring you into this lobotomy stage where you're kind of emotionalized. He called emotions energy and motion, and this all works as roots, if you will, at the basic foundation for your thoughts that are essentially growing out of this as a tree. I mean, he used the analogy of a house and a foundation and whatever. You can look at it. That's however you dice it. Emotions play a role in all that. So explains propaganda.
It's
Why it's successful.
yeah, it was really not subtle how much the way that you are feeling just very quickly impacts your brain and what the electromagnetic pulses that it's putting out. And and it's firing the cylinders back to your nervous system and making your heart rate jump, and it's it's so immediate, that response of, and so uncontrollable. It's so unfair. It's very obvious. To me, I guess one of the reasons I don't like our current political climate is because it's not based on ideas, and it's not based on
Hmm.
what people are saying even necessarily. It's solely based on making people upset.
Emotionalized
Um,
dumb shit. Yeah.
and as soon as you make people upset, it compromises your critical thinking skills, and you're both not able to think rationally about why you support or don't support a position. Um, and it sort of shuts down your ability to reason through it, and it like takes away your motivation to want to reason through it because you just know how you feel about it. And um and we're sort of conditioned to to push that aside. Once you're upset, you should just kind of push that upset aside. And so if everything political is associated with that emotional upset, then you put it aside and don't really think through the implications of what's being said, like how it affects the people in our society. And
You know, it's used to the opposite extent, that you spout out the bullshit from the fact that you have to distract from your really bad ideas, which are really bad for the people and only good for capital and capitalists and the investors behind your fucked up projects like, I don't know, Gaza. What's this idea? I mean, they've created a really massive. They still don't let aid in or whatever. I'm not. Okay, I'm losing it. We need to stick to the delusions. Reality creeps in again. Happens.
oh man, it happens to the best of us all the time. But that's, I mean, that's the truth I mean, but that's where we're at. Like we can't even have normal conversations anymore. We can't just like shoot the shit.
What's
We all
normal?
have to be we all just have to be super upset about the state of the world and how horrible everything is, because it is horrible. It ain't not horrible, but at the same time, our active resilience will be finding joy amidst the fray. And I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I mean, you sort. We're friends online, so like you see the things that I post, and we've not really ever had a conversation about this, but I think you'll notice that I don't really ever post pictures of the president, or I don't post pictures of politicians in general. Um, Probably never, not really ever, hardly ever, but never. Just because I think it is a way that they're very clearly, um, they get power that way. Even if you're sharing it because you don't agree with them and you're trying to point out how bad they are and how stupid they are and why everything that they're doing is anti-humanistic and causing the downfall of our society in real time. Just saying their names all the time and showing their pictures all the time, it it shares their picture. Their picture is out there one more time on the internet, and in that way, I think they kind of win.
Not bad.
You
We
know,
call that
in
negative advertisement, and you create attention, feedback that might be negative, and you kind of want the negative feedback too, because it creates more interactions and more people can hate your shit, and you don't get out of their heads. And that's a way to stay in the conversation and keep it focused on. So that's very smart, but it's also sometimes maybe a block to do something funny or whatever. So I don't totally adhere to that strategy, but it's good to keep an
I
eye
don't
on it and maybe use
don't
it yourself.
totally I don't
I don't
totally adhere to any strategy,
I
but
don't I don't condone negative advertisement for me. I love bad critics. Give me your bad critics. It's all negative advertisement in the end. You'll see. Just give it a try.
nobody say anything bad about me,
Real
actually.
delusions.
Like if
Maybe
we're being
that's.
if we're if we're being really honest or really delusional either way, I don't want anybody to say anything bad about me. Just you guys keep that in your heads.
Hmm, you can direct that all to me. I mean, this is my podcast. It's all my fault. And I think we are slowly carving out something like an essence, and that's weird. Didn't see that coming. But maybe the real delusion is not sticking to your own real delusions. You know? I mean, you seem kind of happy with your delusions, and we always have this kind of conversation, and it's, I don't know,
Well, what would be the benefit of not believing in my delusions?
right? Not believing in
Like
yourself.
how I've tried that. I have been so stuck in just being overly critical of myself and, worrying way too much about how I sound or how I look or how dumb I come across. Like, I don't know. I spent a lot of time doing that, and I will tell you one thing, I never became rich or famous doing it.
Mm,
So it might not be the best strategy to not believe my delusions. I don't know. As long
fair
as I'm
enough.
not as long as I'm not like jumping off of buildings or running out into the middle of traffic. Like as long as they don't have self or other harmful delusions, I think it's fun. Just indulge them. I think people should indulge their delusions a little bit more, develop them, like start crafting them at a certain point. That's just called manifesting.
You can study them, definitely, and get to the point that, I don't know, Oh wow, psychology exists, and someone like Jung talked about synchronicities and things happening in your daily life that synchronize with your thought process, and something goes click, and you think, oh wait, this is not one of the usual coincidences. I just thought about this. Is it a déjà vu? No, something else. It's the synchronicity. And there's all kinds of weird stuff we have actually already names for. And there are people out there at the front lines trying to make sense of all this madness. So you can use all that to create something else, right? And try to harden your armor for all the other delusions people constantly are going to sell because they want to make their money. They want to have their power, their influence.
I think
Ah,
if anything, reality is a lot more fluid than people, telling yourself that you have control over reality is a different type of delusion in and of itself. It might be the most delusional state that you can be in, thinking that there are hard set boundaries and rules all the time. Uh,
Plans of
I don't
Mice
know.
and Tin Men.
So there's a lot of people. Uh, I didn't write them all down, but there's a lot of people who believe in their delusions to the point that they have tried to develop that delusional state um, called hypnagogia, which is a surreal half dream state. It's also called stage one sleep. But it's a fluid and hyper-associative state when the brain makes rapid, unexpected, and unconventional connections between
Whoop-de-doo.
ideas, concepts, and memories. I'm going to stop reading to you if you're going to be so flippant in the midst of my definition readings.
Behave yourself, Corn.
It's but it's like an influx of alpha brain waves, which are we talked about gamma waves a little bit, and they're the higher the manic or genius or insanity brain waves. And then most of the time during the day when you're awake, you're emitting these beta waves that are a little bit lower frequency. And then just below that, there are these alpha waves. Um, and that's what's most active as you're falling asleep. And then also, once you are sufficiently asleep but not in REM, there's sleep spindles during a later stage two sleep where your brain is mainly in theta waves but then spikes up to alpha waves periodically. Um, and that's the time that your brain's dreaming most of the time is um, is when it's making these alpha waves, either when you're half asleep, kind of awake, you're like daydreaming or lucid dreaming. And then when you're actually asleep, when your brain jumps up to those alpha waves, is when during sleep spindles, is when you're having dreams. So I don't know. I guess they're the most delusional of the of the brain waves. But you can get there. You can condition yourself to get there. I guess this was a big thing Salvador Dali liked to do was nod off. Can you hear that? There's like somebody revving an engine outside.
No,
But
but I
he'd
can see the cat.
yeah, he better not knock over my lava lamp. We'll be in trouble. Um he'll so he'd he'd eat lunch, and then he'd sit in a chair and he'd hold a key between his thumb and his forefinger, and when he'd fall asleep, then the key would fall on the plate that he'd leave by his chair because he just ate lunch, and the noise would wake him up. And that's he called it slumbering with a key technique. And he credits that with is it hold on a second. Oh, I got it. My kids came home and they're making noise upstairs, and I was like, is there a family of raccoons in my house I didn't know about? Which is entirely possible.
You
But no, I
described
think
it
it's just
yourself
Megan.
again. Not bad.
There I go. Yeah. But but yeah, so that's how Dolly well, the painting, there's like a painting with the tiger. There's this muse sitting out in the middle of a plain, and then there's a big goldfish and it's got a tiger coming out of its mouth. You would recognize this painting if you saw this painting. Um, it's got a pomegranate in it. It's probably got an elephant with weird legs in the background someplace of the desert setting, I'm sure it's in. Um, yeah, but he said that was like a delusion that he got during that state of hypnagogia. It's also when people claim to astral travel, is that same border space between awake and asleep when your brain's making the alpha waves.
Hmm. Lucid dreaming. That's
Have you ever done much lucid dreaming?
no astral travel. Maybe some lucid dreaming.
I'm the other way. Got astral travel, but no lucid dreaming.
I can. It's also related, but I read somewhere that Da Vinci had a weird sleep pattern, like just 6 hours, then 6 hours awake, sleeping 6 hours again, awake for 6 hours, cutting up dead people, studying them,
Yeah, he
asleep for
really did
six
like to cut
hours
up
again.
dead people.
And he also uh, recommended that because you develop your creativity is different when you're like constantly sleep deprived a little bit, but also awake. So at some point, I was totally fine with just sleeping a few hours, like 5 or 6. If I could just have a little nap after that again. And then you nap yourself through the day and weird stuff happened. You're full of ideas and working on stuff like wild. So this seems to work in a way,
It's alpha waves, man.
possibly.
Sick alpha waves. So I started thinking about like uh what if you could generate more alpha waves? What if you could like get your brain to make more alpha waves? Would you dream more? Would you be more creative? Um, would you experience astral travel more? Um, I guess there's ways you can do it. You can, and this is sort of, I've been asking around and I've heard all the different answers about binaural beats. And what binaural beats are is you play one frequency in your left ear, say 400 hertz, and you play a slightly different frequency in your right ear, say 410 hertz, and your brain will create all on its own. It just will generate and perceive a 10 hertz electromagnetic wave to account for the difference between this 400 and 410. It just makes it's called a phantom tone, and it'll create this third wave. And if it's 10 hertz, that's sufficiently in an alpha wave frequency. And I guess it's like being used as a therapeutic method for different applications for epilepsy is one reason. Um, it's all it's also a reason they said don't do it is if you have epileptic tendencies that it and you're doing it without a trained professional, it might actually stimulate some epileptic seizures. So watch out. And it makes women go into labor. Apparently, if you're pregnant and you listen to these binaural beats, it can stimulate labor, which is strange. It's a strange phenomenon. I can't remember what part of your brain produces oxytocin. Um, I don't know if I don't know. I would only be hazarding a guess, and I didn't really want to guess and just be wrong. But I wonder if it stimulates the production of oxytocin. That could, I mean, that would be a reason why it would make a woman go into labor because that's what makes a woman go into labor.
Okay, you gotta study that some more.
I will. You know I will. And
You gotta
I'll be nerded out telling you about it too.
you gotta
Look
give
at
us
my notes,
the
Corn.
the
Look
full
at
report.
I I highlighted.
I haven't seen those in a while. Looks like mine. So we've been going on for over an hour, over 1.5 hours.
No, nuh-uh.
Time is running, is it not?
It
Let me
hasn't been
check.
an hour and a half. There's
No,
just
it's not.
no
I
way.
need to chill out. It's
It's been like
actually
15 minutes.
it's actually the time. See, I need to chill out. Where was I? This time I distracted myself. It was
Who are
pretty
you?
dope. Actually,
Did you even
up to the point
introduce yourself this time?
I jumped
I
in.
don't know that you did.
I did. I'm the favorite blue corn. It's fine. Gonna be juicy, and it already was. So there you go. What's with your notes? I kind of distracted you again.
Mm,
Definitely did.
well, I was then I got heavy into the pineal gland and what the pineal gland does in your brain. Because it controls your circadian rhythms and it creates melatonin.
What's the rhythm? What's that?
Why did I look at your pineal gland? I don't know. I don't know why I looked up the pineal gland. I don't know. I'm just looking at my notes, but um
Isn't that the reptile brain? Which one is it? Isn't that the pineal
it's
gland?
it's a
The small
little
one?
pea-shaped. It's a
Yeah,
teeny. It's not the amygdala.
I think that's the reptile one.
Well, the
I
amygdala is
always get the terms confused. I could never study medicine, man. It's
the
Latin.
brain
It's just
stem, like
letters.
the base of the brain where the primary functions that keep you alive is in your brain stem, the amygdala.
Hmm.
But the pineal gland is like in the center of your brain. It's inside of the brain stem. It's like underneath the cortex and it's like wait,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's in here, Corn.
No shit.
It's you just like drill a hole and then you can
That's what they
sprinkle
did,
sprinkle
actually.
some vitamin K2 in there.
What's the terminology for that? Prenatally I don't get
I
the
said I was going to be.
terminology, but
Do
they
you remember when I said I
actually,
was going to be so much more professional this week? Do you
oh,
remember
we
me
are,
saying that?
we are. Prenatation, I think, is the term, and they found that with some skulls. They had those little holes, and they thought it was fight and flight, and you get a hole in your head, you're dead. But no, turns out they did rituals, and they actually did that in medicine to for some reasons, and then some strange hippies retried that, and turns out you can get more oxygen in your head. Don't try this at home because they say you like on a constant trip. But that's all hearsay. I need to look into that now because I totally did this to me now.
No, I've definitely
Prenatation.
heard that that there are archaeologists and anthropologists have found plenty of human skulls that have purposefully had holes drilled
Pretty.
into them for various reasons, like to um to alleviate headaches was a big reason, just like swelling or pressure inside of the skull, just drill a hole in it. But I think maybe to stimulate the pineal gland was another reason that they did do
You
it.
can do this at home. It's no problem.
You just get what a knitting needle, okay?
Just a little
And you
drill.
just start pushing. So there's just a very, very thin barrier between your nasal passage and your brain. It's like very thin, actually. I didn't talk about the sense of smell because I don't know, it started doing something else. Um, but the sense of smell is really interesting. I would like to talk about the sense of smell. It doesn't fit into the delusions conversation whatsoever. But I think it's interesting because it's one of the senses that if you smell it, you have whatever you smell, you have molecules of that thing attached to receptor sites inside of your body. And like that's what causes the sense of smell. So,
Well,
what?
there
Yeah,
is
yeah.
some. I read this weird novel, like as a youngster, The Perfume, but I don't know what's his name. And story being some guy develops the perfect perfume, like back in the, I don't know, 1600s or somewhat, in some stinky big city, you know. And people love perfume because everything stinks. And he has gone all the way, even killed someone because they smelled so nice. And then used it on himself, and everyone comes and they eat him up. So, weird story, but fables, I don't know, tend to give us something. And when you think about it, smell goes right to your animalistic side, like sex, eating, throwing up,
It's the
because
Prost
you can't
effect.
stand the stink, you just throw up. It just takes over your body, and your body is already ready to do his thing again, or hers, or whatever body thinks.
I
It's
don't know if you know much about
pretty
the Prost
powerful.
effect. I didn't look into it a whole lot, but it was essentially about that how tied to memory scent can be and how strongly it can pull you into a stored memory, um,
Oh yeah,
just
there's the
involuntarily.
yeah, sense of memory, and you got the smell as well. That rhymes. I remember
I wonder.
remembering some stuff I got out of my head once, and I was totally taken by the scene because of the smells too. That my brain still got all that locked down deep inside, and then suddenly, boom, there you have it. Totally forgot about it. But hey, man, you still got the smell and everything.
I wonder if that's part of the molecular exchange. Like, I wonder, because when you smell something, like I said, it means that molecules of whatever that thing are inside of your head. So I guess it's Pavlovian. It's like just a response that gets conditioned. Like you have these molecules in your system and it makes you feel a certain way.
Hmm.
Like you just are conditioned to recognize that response to that stimulus. That's interesting. This is another way that you could elicit delusions for yourself if you got good at knowing what smells would elicit certain memories for yourself or for someone else. You could recreate magic essentially. Like if you had a wildly good experience and it was associated with a specific smell, and then at a later time you reintroduce that smell. I
Hmm.
can remember one that this is like
I
so
don't know.
strange. Yeah, or it's like can be so inconsequential because I can remember a time that I was at a wedding and it wasn't a particularly meaningful wedding to me. I wasn't in that wedding. So, but it was just the hotel that we stayed at had a lotion and it smelled like chamomile. And now anytime I have a lotion that smells like chamomile, it just reminds me of this one hotel in Idaho that I stayed at in 2005. It's it's strangely not it wouldn't be like a memorable thing for any other reason, but all of a sudden, you know, I've just got that locked away in my brain for whatever purpose I might need that for, I guess.
Okay.
Just talking here. Just talking here. Um, that's all my notes. Oh, well, but I'm just my main point, if I had one, because I wasn't writing a dissertation, it was just like shooting the shit with you. Um, what like why would it even make we think about delusions, oh somebody's delusional, they're crazy because they think about all of these things that we can't see and we can't hear, but we can't see and we can't hear most things. So, why would anybody limit themselves to what in your flawed human vessel that's so limited that can't even see 1% of everything there is to see, can't even hear 10% of everything there is to hear.
Yeah, good thing is,
Why would you trust a human vessel to know what is actually real or not? Like
you
it's
have to.
scientifically proven.
What's the other option?
Well,
Running
I
around,
mean,
nothing is real. Yeah, I do that actually. I mean, it's fun when you think, is this a dream or is this, am I really awake? You know, am I dreaming this? Kind of does the
well,
trick when you do this a while, like regularly, you get into the
isn't it more
third
true
eye
that
view where you watch yourself and you watch reality and things unfolding. They might be totally weird and your dreams and all of that, and get a perspective. and see that there isn't really difference. The, it's kind of the same, but in different spheres happening. But the mind is always active in a way when you think about it. Oh, you're doing the
GT one.
camera thing.
Well, JT says he wanted to be on screen too. Oh no.
Nice. Anything you I don't know, feel like addressing for our little thing?
Um,
You want to do a Zoom call? Let's do a Zoom call.
you you have but it seems like you I can hear you better this week than I could hear you last week.
Yeah, maybe I'm louder, not so sleepy.
Well, that's surprising because the time changed and now it's later for you than it was last week.
hmm Yeah, at night I'm going nuts. Ask my neighbors. Um,
How
how
are they
long?
doing? They're
Not
not
bad.
thinking you're being too loud, are you? We're
Nah,
not being too loud for the neighbors, are we?
does it matter? So, do you got anything on your mind? The cat, maybe? Can you read the cat's thoughts? I mean,
Yes, he's saying, I'm the real star here. I think we all know who the
he's
people came to see.
he's not wrong. It's okay. Then I don't know. Got some juicy bits for the Zoom talk? Probably.
I don't know, you've
I
got
look at
anything
you.
else?
Yeah, we probably got something else. So
What do you
let's
want to
end
talk
it
about in
here.
the Zoom?
We're not
Okay.
going to introduce it. No, we're freestylers. You know what happens. You know what's going on. Gonna be this just another hour. So join us if you wanna stop us from going totally insane. This would be the right moment.
Stop our world
Otherwise,
domination.
have a good ride. See you in a few days. I kind of missed out on the time change, so I messed up my meeting with Van, but it's still happening, and we're doing some unrelated political stuff because. Okay, see you in the
Because
Zoom.
you should. Because it's a good topic.
Say bye.
Oh, bye.
Bye, kittens.
Goodbye.